Welcome back to Ballintoy. This is one of those situations where you have a plan and then you see the conditions and you think, shall I change that plan? Basically, I am still going to head down to the little secret beach. I had a bit of an idea of a couple of extra images that I wanted to get from down there, but the cloudage, as he almost knocks his tripod over the side of the cliff, the cloudage over to the west is rather nice, and so I thought I would just stop up looking over the little harbour, and I might just hang out here just to see whether we get any light at sunrise, because these clouds here would look pretty fantastic. Now out to the east I can already see that it's unlikely that we're going to get any light at sunrise. Sunrise is about 20 minutes away, so basically I'm going to hold up here. Very simple shot, nothing too dramatic about it. It's a well photographed scene, and for good reason. I have got a couple of images from here with decent clouds and things, but never look a gift horse in the mouth. Now, one of the reasons why I've kind of aborted my original plan was because the clouds over to the east where the sun is rising are okay. They're not bad, but I think there's going to be better potential if we do get any light, which again is one of those 80-20 moments. I seem to live my photographic life in 80-20 moments these days. And finally, it's not raining. And finally, it actually feels a little bit milder. So we'll wait it out, see whether we get any light at sunrise. If we do, I'll throw up an image. Well, I guess I'll throw up even a blue Irish image anyway. If we don't, then we'll wander on down to the secret, not so secret beach. So, sun has now risen. It is behind a bank of clouds, but we're just starting to get a little bit of light in those clouds. Oh, I'm actually in the process of just doing a long exposure. Got a polarizer on, just to darken that water a little bit, and a four-stop ND. A little gander at this. I think obviously one of the issues with the slightly longer exposure is, of course, even though it is quite a calm morning, those boats are obviously giving a little bit of movement, so that kind of rules out doing anything longer exposure, which is fine. I was just sort of playing about a little bit while I was waiting on the light to come. Now, as I say, we're starting to get some nice light in the clouds above here. And there's a few gaps that I can see. The sun actually rises behind Rathlin at this time of year, so I wouldn't have got it at direct sunrise exact moment anyway, but that's okay, because as long as we can maybe get some reflective light on these clouds, and maybe as the sun rises up over Rathlin Island, and get then some direct light on the little stone cafe. So still not 100% hopeful, but Friday morning, only one here, large coffee consumed. Not too shabby. You know, you plan for a lot of things in this game. Weather, travel time, kit malfunctions, everything. Police turning up and trying to engage with you. Sort of hovered around a little bit, but they did park down in the car park. I had specifically parked my car out of the way, so the car park was nice and clear, and the police turned up and parked there with their lights on as well. I think they knew what they were doing. Maybe I'm just skeptical. Anyway, they've gone now. Don't think we're going to get any direct light, at least not when it's going to be sort of lighting up those clouds. So what I might end up doing is, if we do get any direct light, I'm not even sure blending a couple of images would work, direct light on the foreground on the little cafe, because I think it would just look too unnatural with lovely pink wispy clouds. Now, the clouds that kind of were doing, these ones here, sort of nice effect in the frame, have now kind of slowly drifted off to the right, and they've left behind sort of a bit nondescript clouds really. So I think this is going to be another point to Mother Nature. I think that's about 104 or something so far this year. Still a beautiful spot though. And the little cafe, I'm not sure whether it's open during these strange times, but if it is open, get yourself a slice of their chocolate cake. I kid you not, it's the size of my head. Not that cheap, but oh my god. I would say that light from the clouds is starting to significantly dissipate. So, don't think we're going to get what we wanted today. Hey ho, eh? Hey ho. So I'm not sure whether the camera's picking that up. Ooh, hang on. But it's kind of almost like a little bit of a storm light going on, or at least it was. Now, unfortunately, as is always the case, the sun was rising up, and while it looked like there was going to be some diffused clouds, it looks like those clouds were quite light, and then a big fat thumping thick cloud decided to cover it. So I reckon in the next few minutes we're going to lose a bit of that light. It might come back again, but oh, so close, so close. It really looked like it was kind of lifting up and something was going to happen, and because it's not that windy, those clouds aren't moving that quickly either. So oh, that looked like it was about to happen. Hey ho. So we're starting to get a little bit of early morning light now on both the edge of the pier and also on the little stone cafe. It's going to be quite diffused, because even when it comes up from behind that larger cloud, there's a lot of sort of just diffused cloud, but it might lift the scene just a little bit. I still think it's not going to be anything great to write home about. You've heard me say this once or twice, I think. Despite this being my job, it's not really about the images. I know that sounds completely counterintuitive, but it really is just about being outside, making the effort, getting up at 3:45 in the morning, driving out here, and just playing the lottery with Mother Nature. That to me is what it's all about. And if you end up coming out at the end of the year with a handful of images that you're happy with, that's a bonus. And then another bonus is someone actually wants to buy those prints. Right, let's give it another 10-15 minutes and see, as I said earlier, the large bank of cloud now that's really hanging over sort of eastern Scotland is just snuffing out any attempt here. But all we need is just a little bit of light just to come up over that thicker cloud, and it could be Gamish on. Gamish? Closely related to Hamish. I need more coffee. So I'm just watching the light way in the distance over the causeway, and it is now starting to really pop out over there. And of course that's your little sort of heads up, your sort of 30-second warning, because obviously just with altitude and distance and whatever the science is behind it, you're going to see the light further afield. If there's a bank of cloud blocking your light, you're going to see it further afield potentially before you see it on your scene. So I now see the causeway cliffs being lit up, and hopefully if things carry on, we're going to get some light in the foreground here, and it looks like there actually is going to be sort of a little bit of a substantial gap in those clouds, which might mean that we're not having to run around like a headless chicken, because I don't like running around like a headless chicken. I like everything to be nice and calm. Right, yep, right. Let's follow that light, watch it come in, and hopefully get ready to make an image. Let there be light. So just one thing to comment on this scene, because of there's kind of I'm standing on a little bit of a headland overlooking the harbour, and that means that there's quite a big area of shadow on the left hand side of the frame. Now I think the better composition includes all of that, but, and I have spoke about this many times before, it's very easy for your eye in real time to kind of almost ignore that, and then when you get back on the computer, you're like, oh, look at that massive bit of shadow. You end up either lightening it quite a bit, which makes it look a little bit unnatural, or cropping that bit out, which not only potentially reduces the image quality, or at least the resolution, but also kind of you've composed for a certain kind of look, and now you're cropping out a lot of that composition, so you're kind of chasing your tail a little bit. So with that in mind, I've kind of raised the camera up to completely ignore that. Now that does include a lot of the sky, which right now isn't really doing a lot, but I'm kind of thinking maybe a 16:9 crop in there. Oh, how I would love Fujifilm to add additional overlay crop ratios. Come on, give us the 4:3 and the 5:7 and the 16:9. Please, 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 please. So yeah, just watch out for that. Just whenever you're kind of composing those images and there is that huge big bit of shadow in there, be thinking to yourself, is that something that you think you're going to have to deal with when you get back to the computer? Because more likely than not, you'll be cropping that out, and that's not what we wanted. So now, this is the light that I would have loved to have had sort of at sunrise with those clouds. Now, beautiful light on the foreground, don't get me wrong, absolutely gorgeous, but not a lot of colour in the sky. So a very nice morning indeed, and ever since I spoke about it, I now want some of that cake. The size of your head, the size of my head as well. My head's big. So this is exactly the type of conditions that I was hoping for. That sun has now blasted through. It is still, despite being a good 45 minutes after sunrise, it is a lovely, warm, kind of soft, and there's lovely dark foreboding clouds in the background. This is why I wanted to sort of hang out at this spot, because that kind of potential, there's no point right now, there's no point earlier on shooting towards the sun. This is where it was at, and this is exactly what I was hoping for. Now, just like I said before, watching the light kind of come toward you from afar, you can also predict when it's going to be going away, because right now the light has completely disappeared from the causeway. So with that in mind, what I'll probably do while we're just waiting for this last bit of light to disappear, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and just make the most of what I have left in the frame, cutting out those far distant cliffs. But I better be quick, because that light, or that curtain over the light, is fast approaching. And as if like that, I think that's the morning light over. Rather enjoyed that. Again, one of the things I love, some lovely sort of low-lying mist. You're never going to be able to make that out, but some lovely low-lying mist over Rathlin. Oh, looks lovely. Anyway, this is exactly why I just love being out with a camera. It's that anticipation, and one of the reasons why I love to kind of stay roughly in one spot is you're almost pitting your wits against Mother Nature. Now, don't get me wrong, she wins more often than not. You're kind of, as a photographer, sort of part of your job is that anticipation, that sort of pre-visualization of how things could turn out. And of course that comes from a little bit of planning, but also from repeat visits to, if you can, to the same location. So knowing obviously that with that those sort of dark foreboding clouds and a lot more cloud over to the west, knowing not to simply just go and shoot as a lot of people may do, and I have done in the past. You kind of shoot towards the light. It would have been almost a complete bust of a shoot. So we've ended up with hopefully a couple of reasonably pleasing images. Now, don't get me wrong, I think what would have raised this a little bit more was to have that light maybe 40 minutes earlier, when we still had some lovely pinks in the cloud, because I think those clouds really would have lit up. As it was, there was beautiful light on the foreground, but the sky kind of was a little bit questionable. And what a difference light makes. It's gone, and it ain't coming back today. I rather enjoyed that. One of the benefits, I guess, of having sunrise at ridiculous o'clock means that I can now get home, and it'll only be about 7 a.m. Still the whole day ahead of you. So I'm in a big printing mode at the moment, trying to update my store. I'll put a link below. You never know, one of these images over time may end up in the store as well. Don't think so, but you never know. Right guys, I hope you have enjoyed another little visit down to Ballintoy. I love this area, as do a number of photographers, and for good reason. An absolute gold mine in terms of different compositions, different times of the day, different seasons, and the bonus of really good cake. Did I mention it's the size of my head? Right, I'm off in ramble mode again, so you know what that means. Time for me to go. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.